Hello everyone, this is Paul Payne with my future predictions for education for the next 10 years. First off, what is disruptive innovation in education? According to Hamilton, it's a product or idea that radically changes the way things were always done. Now my question to you is, with these radical new ideas, do we completely scrap the old for something new? During my research, I came across a video from Dr. Simon Breakspear. I'd like you to listen to that.
I think sometimes when we're talking about innovation in education, we get a little bit lost in this language of disruption, radical change, and we think lots that the 20th century model of education, the industrial model if you want, just needs to be totally rethought and thrown out. And look, I agree that the paradigm of education that those in education now have inherited from the last century is not totally aligned with where we want it to go. But I think sometimes when we talk to people, particularly our staff, about disruptive innovation, they really wonder, are you dishonouring all the work we've done over the last decades building this system? And by the way, aren't there some great things that we've learned? Teaching literacy and numeracy and building connected communities, is that just all something to be disrupted? So I actually think the analogy for us is a little bit more like the car. And so there's lots of the car that we keep over time. The things that work we keep, but the designers are constantly looking for ways to personalise it, to humanise it, to make it better. And I actually think that's a really useful analogy for those of us in education, transformation and redesign. We're going to take the best bits of the system. We're going to honour the work of people who have done it before. But then we're going to craft a vision for a compelling learning. And we're going to adopt new types of environments, and we're going to think about new learning partnerships. And these things can happen, yes, even in some of the 1960s buildings that we're going to be stuck with probably deep into the next decade. And we can do it with a radical incremental vision of where learning is going.
I love the idea or the analogy of the car. With this, I've come up with my idea on what is disruptive innovation in education. It should be a blending of old products, new products, to make it better than it was before. My analysis. Education is definitely at a crossroads. No longer do students memorize facts and figures. It's just not interesting to them. They grew up with the internet. They want to know more. They want to be with their friends. They want to socialize. They want to create things. According to Wagner from our first EDUT class, what is profoundly different about today's youth, however, is that most of them have gone to school on the internet. They already know how to do a lot of these things. We just need to incorporate them into our learning. Technology seems to be the driving force as a change for education. Some examples of programs that are affecting education are Google Classroom, the use of Canvas, which I personally haven't tried yet, but I will be trying this next school year, collaboration, and the digital divide, the haves and the have-nots. Okay, education is definitely changing. Technology is increasing at a very rapid pace. Does education need to change at that same pace? Teaching practices have always been a step or two behind technology. With all of the new technology coming out, I get the feeling that everyone feels we should be jumping in, keeping up with technology. Schools don't have the funding to stay in the now for technology. The cost is just too much. For new technology, to keep the infrastructure going, at my school, they've only changed the internet twice. They've upgraded it twice, and it's still slow. And the biggest one is teacher education. Some teachers want to use the new technology, other teachers don't. So what do we do with those? How do we educate those teachers to get them to use the new technology? That's a question that we need to ponder. Predictions for the next 5 to 10 years. The closing of the digital divide. With the use of smartphones or devices, everything is the gap to me is lessening. Kids are able to do assignments easier on their smartphones and devices that they have in the past, and whether or not they can get hooked up to the faster internet, I don't know that isn't going to make that big a deal with the way things they can do with their phones. Mobile device use in the classroom, we have to come to a happy medium between the teachers being afraid the students are on the wrong thing, the students using the device not for socially but to actually work, and parents worried about what's going to happen to the phone if it breaks or any of that kind of stuff. And the last thing is virtual reality. Virtual reality is just within our reach. The problem is, unless teachers start asking for it and wanting it, there's not going to be a market for it. And another aspect for that is that the supply of education materials for virtual reality are very slim. There needs to be able to buy more, create more content that is tailored for virtual reality to education. And that is all for my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.